Hi, welcome to Wildly Basic. I'm Denise McLeod.
I'm Whitney Hunt.
And today we have a special guest, and we're going to talk about collision and what you need to know about your insurance and what you need to know about collision shops. Our guest today is Jamie Kinnison, who works at one of our local Waterford dealerships. And we have questions for her, and I'm sure you guys do too, as to what happens when you get in a car accident and you have to go to a collision shop.
So hopefully that will never happen.
Right. So Whitney has a story.
I do.
And we're going to start at the...
So we'll kind of run off of that.
Yeah, we're gonna start up from the very beginning, okay? You get into a car accident.
Yes. Okay, so you get into a car accident. And say you T-bone somebody that runs a red light. Okay?
Okay.
Front end smashes in. What do I do once that happens?
Well, the first thing you need to do is make sure you're okay.
Listen.
Because T-bones are very scary. The next thing you need to do is call the police.
Mm-hmm.
You know, make sure everybody's okay. Call the police, get them involved, and then contact your insurance company.
Right there on the scene?
You could do it the same day. It just depends on...
Well, hold on. Let's back up a little bit. Because what happens is the cop will come, police officer will come and take a report, and then a wrecker will come.
Yes.
Well,
so
depending
let's start
on the situation.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
So if your car is not running and you need
so
a wrecker,
if it's total. It will say totaled.
you need to tell, they're going to ask you where you would like your car.
Correct. Yes.
Most times, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and it starts really right there.
Yes, or they may, depending on the situation. I was in an accident in 2011, and they didn't tell me where they were going to take my vehicle until like the next day.
Yeah, that's what they did with mine. They
Yeah.
just were like, okay, we're going to take it back over here, follow us.
Right. You just, you're shaken up in a
So
situation.
do you, I mean, can you say to them, I would like to for you to take it home, or I would like to take it right to my collision shop?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to have that? Because I know they charge storage. Like if they take your car to a specific garage,
To keep it in the lot.
they charge storage.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They will do that, but it depends on your insurance policy, what's covered. The tow guys, they just want to take it where
They want to get it out of the road.
they just want to get it gone and move on to the next.
And if you have
situation.
insurance, if you have the correct insurance, they're going to cover that tow anyway.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now your car's been towed,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to call your insurance company.
So we'll just say it's the next day. You're kind of recovered out of what just happened. Be it if you have hopefully no injuries, or if you're dealing with injuries. We'll say it's the next day.
Right.
Call your insurance company. What do you say to that insurance company?
Okay, so you'll call your insurance company, and they will ask you a slew of questions. They'll ask you what happened, of course, in the accident, if there was any injury to you or the party, and then they will either guide you to a local facility where they would like your vehicle to be taken to. A lot of times, let's just say it's a bad enough accident to where your vehicle is not drivable after the accident. The tow company will take it to their tow yard, and then it'll sit there until the insurance company decides of where the vehicle will be towed to.
Now, isn't it sometimes the insurance company will send somebody out to go look at it at the yard?
Well, it depends on. So let's just say let's just say you have a certain kind of insurance that has a relationship with a local dealership, okay? And they will call that local dealership their direct repair facility for them. And the insurance company basically is allowing that local dealership or collision shop to work as their claims adjuster to make those decisions and start off the repair process. And that would include an estimate. So sometimes, depending on if that repair facility is a direct repair or not, it depends on that. If the repair facility that you decide that you want your vehicle to be repaired at is not a direct repair facility, basically having a relationship with that insurance company, then they may send out their own claims adjuster to start up the first initial estimate. Okay. And then sometimes they'll send you like the initial check from what they can see from their eyes, and then they'll send that estimate to, or you can send that estimate to the repair of choice shop that you want your vehicle to be fixed at. So it's all the initial process sometimes takes a little while to get it started as far as where you want it to be. Yeah.
If it's a direct repair, that means that the estimator or the person at the collision company can come out and can do the estimate. And
Correct.
if it's not a direct repair, then you might have to wait for the insurance estimator to come out first, and that might take a couple days.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, aren't they also doing this? And this was before COVID, where they could do a virtual, like, because when I got into my car accident, I was on my phone going, "Okay, here's my car. here's."
They do that.
They do that, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
okay.
We at my shop that I'm at, we have an insurance company. They do it both ways. So if let's just say you want to just go ahead and take the photos, depending on the detail of the accident. If it's just a small dent to your bumper, they'll ask you that when you initially call them. So if it's just a small dent, they'll say, okay, well, just go ahead and take these shots and then upload them. And then they'll send you through a certain insurance company that we work with. That's called a PEG estimate. It's photo something. I forget what PEG stands for. But so you would send that up to them, and then they would send that information to the shop of choice that you want to take your vehicle to. A lot of times what they'll do too at that point is they'll send the customer their initial preliminary estimate along with an insurance check. So you could take that estimate and check to any dealership, any collision shop that you want to take it to. And then from there, the shop of choice that you want to take it to, they will take a look at that estimate and then do a tear down with the tech and then see if there's any additional damage. And then they'll work with the insurance company for anything additional besides that.
Can we back up just a little bit?
Sure.
Because if you've never had a collision and you never had to take care of it, before you even go to the collision shop, you need to have a claim number.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And that's something that you personally have to get. The collision shop is not able to get that for you. So before you walk into collision, there's two things you should check, right? Am I right? You should have a claim number, and you should check and see if you have rental insurance in case you might need a
Yes.
car.
Yeah.
That is the two most important things that you should check before you walk into the collision shop
Correct.
on your insurance.
Correct. So on that note, yes, we have. I couldn't tell you how many times I've had people call me and say, "Okay, yeah, I just got in a car accident." And my first initial response is, "Are you okay?" If you're okay and you're at home after the fact, and then they'll say, "Well, can you just set this up for me?" Well, I can't because there's a lot of fraud out there, and if I were to set up every claim for every customer, then some people might say, "Oh, well, they set this up for me," and a part of the vehicle might not be a part of the claim. So you have to really start that relationship first with your insurance company and get that claim number. We can't work on a vehicle unless we have, it's called an assignment. So the insurance company will send us a sheet that'll have a breakdown. I have I have one right here. So the assignment that we get on our end, it'll say what kind of vehicle it is, the VIN number. A lot of people may not know what a VIN number is. It's a vehicle identification number. Every vehicle has it. It's a 17-digit number, including letters.
And that's the one right on the front windshield.
Yeah, it's actually on the front windshield, and then also if you open up the door, a lot of times there'll be like a VIN tag on the inside of the door, and that tells us everything we need to know. It has a certain code for the paint, what kind of paint color that there's a lot on that tag that we get information from. So we receive an assignment, and it has a breakdown of exactly what us as a shop should be working on for that vehicle. Like this one right here, right front corner to right rear door, leaking fluids. So that tells me, okay, the right front corner, that could be, the fender, and then to the right rear door. So the right rear door, and so that's a pretty large damage, But if we get the vehicle in, it's towed in, and there's damage on the opposite side of the vehicle, then we have to, call the customer and say, okay, what's this for? What's going on? And this is a big reason why you want to make sure that you do have rental, because in the initial parts of a claim, the shop is trying to figure out a lot of things. We're trying to figure out, okay, is this a direct repair, or do we have to wait for an insurance adjuster to come out? During COVID, insurance adjusters weren't coming out, and we were just doing basically their job. Or, and we would just start the initial estimate up. Or we would do a video. Allstate, State Farm, we do like a video chat with our phone where I walk around the vehicle and then they can kind of see the vehicle. But that doesn't tell them a lot about the accident, because once you take off the the panels of the vehicle, there could be some major damage behind that.
Yeah, you
so-
could have like a little bump in
Yeah.
you could have a
Yeah.
little dent in your
Yeah.
bumper, but
That
behind
could
that,
push into something
Yeah,
major. Yeah.
yeah, because that
Yes.
takes the brunt of the collision itself.
Yeah, that's why I tell all my customers. I have people that come in and say, "Oh," or they'll call me and say, "Oh, how much is it for a bumper?" And I'm like, "Well, we have to take a look at your vehicle. I'm not psychic."
Well, now,
You know?
so say somebody wants to know how much for a bumper. Because this happened to somebody else I knew. They got into a car accident. It wasn't major, but they needed the left quarter panel replaced.
Okay.
So like their tail light and that side panel to it.
Okay, the fender, the tail light.
Yeah,
yeah.
that little part there. And there were questions about do they want it new parts or used parts, or I forget what they call them. I
So there's OEM parts,
Yeah.
and those are, a straight from the manufacturer. And then also there's aftermarket parts, which is a company separate than the manufacturer that may make the same part. The major difference is the tech may have to drill additional holes to get that part to fit. That's not saying that it's a less part. It's just that it might take a little bit extra time for them to place the part on the vehicle. And then there's also used parts that you can get from a scrap yard, or a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want used parts on my vehicle," and a lot of people don't have the option to choose that, because especially if it's an insurance claim, the insurance company has the full right to choose what parts.
I was just
Yeah.
looking at my insurance the other day, and it had a box to check if you wanted to use only manufacturer parts. So it might be it's probably on your insurance form that you can go into your computer.
Well, I wonder if that
and
would
click.
apply for if you just had your basic like PLPD insurance, or if you had full coverage. I don't know if that would differ.
Now, PLPD is just personal liability and property damage.
So that one-
that is nothing for your vehicle.
Okay.
There's no coverage for any. Yeah. So that's just
So
for-
be aware that if you have PLPD,
that doesn't cover
You-
any part of your vehicle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So if I get in an accident, I have a claim number, I find out I don't have a rental car, can I have a free rental? Do I get a free, what do you call it?
So, yeah, that's the hard thing nowadays. A lot of places, I work for a pretty large dealership in Waterford, and we don't have any loaners. A lot of people say, well, your lot, you have like 300 vehicles on your lot. And that doesn't mean you have loaner vehicles. Those vehicles are for sale. A lot of dealerships, a lot of collision places have veered away from rentals or loaner vehicles because it's pretty cheap to get it on your policy.
It is. I think I got it for like 10 extra,
Yeah.
$8 or $10 a month.
Yeah, and usually on your policy it'll say, okay, do you want a rental vehicle that'll cover for $30 per day or up to $60 per day? $60 per day will get you into a pretty decent vehicle. And a lot of the local
I don't think it went lower than $40 a day.
okay.
My insurance.
Yeah, they're all different.
Yeah.
I mean, but I've seen them at $60. A $60 rental.
Oh yeah, it
can-
gives you a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, $60 rental can usually get you into like a Ford Escape. You're probably not going to be driving a Yukon for that, but
Right.
you can get into a decent vehicle. And also a lot of the local rental places, Enterprise, Hertz. We do a lot of work with Enterprise, and because we have a good relationship with them, they tend to kind of help out a little bit with customers that do come to our facility.
Now,
Yeah.
when a customer comes in, do you ever get customers that are very upset? Like, do they come right from the accident to your
so they're high emotion
dealership? Do you get high? Yeah. You get-
Sometimes that does happen. Yeah, it can be hard to deal with the public in that situation. I know for a fact no one wants to be where I work at. No one
Right.
wants to walk in those doors. A lot of them will come with the tow person. They'll bring them from the accident, and then it can be very stressful. I've seen a lot of emotional things.
It is emotional when
It
you have
is.
an accident.
Yeah,
It
really
is.
Your
Yes.
adrenaline's still going, and you're upset.
Like you just
and-
lost your freaking car, and
yeah, you
Yeah,
hurt
people-
yourself,
or,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
So-
People are very.
Some people get really angry, I think.
well, and there's
Well, with every
yeah.
right, especially if it's not their fault.
Right.
That's-
Yeah, but people become, I tell people, they'll say to me, Jamie, I can't believe I'm this freaked out about a car accident, and I can't believe I'm crying over my vehicle.
Right.
And I'm like, well, next to a house, it's a pretty big expense, and you spend a lot of time in your vehicle. A lot of people even name their vehicles. I had one named Betsy when I was a teenager, but people become, it's like it's their shell, it's their relationship.
Well, I kind of feel where you're coming from with that, because I literally had just paid off my car. That was the first car I fully paid off, and I kid you not, within 2 months, and then that happened, and I lost my car.
Yeah.
Fully paid off, and so I totally understand how people would
Yes.
feel. It's an attachment that you have, and it's
Yeah, it's very, I've seen people just break down. I've seen other people are like, great, cool, I'm going to get an insurance check and I'm just going to get my next vehicle. People, it's just, you never know when people walk in that door what they've just come from.
Yeah.
We've seen some pretty devastating vehicles end up on our lot. Recently we had one where it was, there was a death involved, and when you deal with that, it's just, it can be hard, Sometimes I come home at night and I just want to bawl my eyes out, because it's just, you just feel so awful for
So
these
do you
people.
end up hearing those stories?
Oh yeah. Oh jeez. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. People don't realize that this job is
You don't just see the car.
No, we see the aftermath, and then we also speak with the customer, because
Sometimes a customer has to come and get
they get their
property.
belongings. Oh yeah.
and that person might have passed away, and they have to go to this car and see what the condition is, and have to get their property. And it's just it's hard on both, probably you guys as collision people and the customer.
I hate to say that you get used to it. I've seen enough to. Yeah, I hate to say even that I get used to seeing it, but every situation is completely different. Speaking with someone who had to deal with a loss, it's just it's very devastating. But I feel like I feel happy that it's me in that situation, because I think you have to have a certain level of empathy when people come in that door and they're just upset. I have a lot of empathy for tow truck drivers. You don't realize it until you deal with them every single day. They're just like firefighters. They're just like EMT. They're just like nurses, doctors, and they see it on the front lines every single day. And it's very, I don't know how they can handle that. I mean, I deal with it a little bit, but they deal with it a lot. Yeah.
And didn't you say that there's been a lot of deer hits?
Yeah, this year, I have seen more blood, guts, deer pee, deer poop this year than ever. And a lot of it is because people aren't on the road, and deer are just like running rampant. We've had, I want to say, I hate to say a percentage, but last year, pre-COVID, we maybe seen 20 to 30% of our accidents were, from deer. This year, I would say 40, maybe even 50%. In January, February, I swear it was like every other vehicle, it was a deer hit, just left and right.
And it's surprising what a deer can do to your car.
Oh yeah,
It is
and you,
crazy.
it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some really crazy things.
Yeah.
I've seen, deer heads still stuck in the wheel well. It's just like,
That's horrible.
You see, and I'm not laughing. It's not funny, but it's like,
What else are you supposed to do?
yeah,
You don't see that every day.
You don't
Yeah.
see this stuff every day.
So
and
you
you're
think
like,
you think less traffic out there, the deer are starting to come out to the
oh yeah, they're
road
like,
more often.
yeah, they're like, this is our land. You guys took over our land, so we're just going to get back on the road. And unfortunately, it's been a
So if
crazy
you're
deer
driving
season.
in the early morning and dusk, you probably want to be careful and watch
Yes.
those deer.
And the crazy thing is, a lot of these are in Waterford on roads that you wouldn't even think.
Right.
We've had a few on Hospital Road, which is, a local. You would never think that deer are on that road, or even by this high school by Mott, like right down the. And I'm like, how in the world is that even happening? This is not like farm country, but yeah, they're running rampant this year. Yeah.
Okay. So let's get back. We have a car in collision now.
Yep.
You have an estimator assigned to you from that collision shop, and that's the person that is your contact person. It's not your insurance person, but it's an estimator, and they're going to help you through the process of, okay, we're going to take off your bumper and your quarter panel, and we're going to see if there was damage beyond that. And usually there is damage beyond what you can see. Yes? Correct?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've had people come in and say, okay, I just had a little bit of damage and can you fix my vehicle in a day or two? And I'm like, yeah, we have to do a tear down.
Right.
And a lot of people will look at me and say, oh, that's just a way for you to get more money off of us. Maybe back in the day, like pre-80s or, yeah, I would say possibly, people were taken advantage of. But nowadays, there are certain rules that you have to adhere to with the insurance companies. We're in the day of technology,
And they're
of
pretty
photos.
strict too, aren't they? I mean,
They're
what
very
they-
strict.
They keep an eye on everything that you're doing.
Yeah, they keep a big eye on everything that we're doing.
You basically kind of have to negotiate how many hours it'll take to fix a car.
Yeah.
So the insurance company is there through the whole process, and they're saying yes or no to how many hours and how much money and all this stuff. So they're trying to protect their money, and you guys are trying to protect your hours that you take to fix a car.
Yeah.
So it's not like
It's not
it's
You
not
know-
like everybody's blindfolded and
Right.
you can just do what you want.
right.
Right. There's a lot that goes into it.
I'm going to back up a little bit. Like when the car comes in and the customer's there and they say, oh, my bumper's dented, and I have a few scratches here and there. The estimator goes out with the customer, okay? Because you guys have to take all the pictures. You guys actually go out and circle the parts that are dented and that need to be worked on because of the accident. But you also go around the car and find dents and scratches that weren't part of the accident.
Correct.
So that you can, because some people will try and get all their dents and scratches fixed
Right.
And get it covered under
and
the
get
one.
it covered under
Well,
their insurance.
yes.
So when you go to the collision shop and you get taken out and they're drawing on your car, this is why.
Right.
They're protecting that you're not going to, try and get everything
Scam
fixed
'em.
on your car. Because some people will do that.
Scam.
A lot of
Yeah.
people will come in and say, wait a minute, you forgot to fix that. And you're like,
And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
It does. And, and I know it's fraudulent, but I partially don't blame people because you figure I've been paying so many years for my insurance and I should get more out of this than I am. But this is exactly what you're paying for, is exactly what happened during the
because
accident.
if you try to do that, it's fraud.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Yeah. And we've seen a lot of fraudulent claims.
And and
but-
they can cancel can't they cancel
Oh,
your
yeah.
insurance right then and there?
Yeah.
And you'll have to pay for everything on your own.
Yes. Yeah. It's crazy.
So don't do that. That would be a bad thing to do.
Yeah. So when we have the initial intake, when a customer comes by, we have our assignment from the insurance company like this, and it'll say, "Oh, front left bumper," right? So I'll walk around, myself or someone else will walk around the vehicle with a customer. We'll have our pens, and then I'll say, "Okay, well, what about this on the rear side of your vehicle? What's this about?" "Oh, that's a part of it too." "Oh, no, your insurance company says that it's just this." So then at that point, I would say you might want to contact XYZ insurance company and let them know that this is a part of the claim too. And then we let the insurance company decide that.
Right.
With my marker, I'll come out and I write UPD on it, basically unrelated prior damage. And then we take photos. So everything is completely documented.
Right.
It's, it's interesting how to, a lot of people will try to pull things, but
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So if somebody was in an accident, they brought the car to you guys. How do you decipher if you want to total it?
So we don't make the decision at all.
Okay.
That
who do
is an
you-
insurance
who's the-
company.
No, I don't.
Yes.
No.
So it's
So-
the insurance.
Yes. So what we'll do is, if it's not, so whenever we have a vehicle come in that may appear as a total loss, we cannot make that call. We can generally kind of, know a little bit that if you have a vehicle come in and a lot of the airbags have been deployed, that is like a sure, almost, yes, that's a total loss. And the reason why I say that is because, to put another airbag in, you have to disassemble the whole dashboard, all of that. I mean, because you have to make sure that everything is safely back to where it was, in the precondition of
So
the
it
accident.
costs more for
It
the
costs-
airbags to be replaced than it would for your.
Oh, yeah.
For the total.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen it to where vehicles have come in and there's hardly any damage at all to the bumper, maybe just a few scratches on the hood. We would have to replace a fender. Fenders aren't that expensive. And then we have it's called a threshold. So each insurance company has their own threshold. One insurance company might say, okay, if this goes over in the estimate over 75%, that's over the threshold, and we're going to deem that as a total loss. Some insurance companies are at 60%. It just depends on the insurance company and how new or the vehicle is.
Right.
But once you see that airbag deployment, it's like, okay, and I've seen it to where the airbag deployment would it be the actual case of it being put over that threshold.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so have you, out of curiosity, because one of my friends, they had just bought a Tesla. And I know Teslas aren't very popular in Michigan, but
Yeah.
they just got it, and she got hit, completely destroyed the right side of her car.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to decipher if they want to total it or not. Have you worked with Teslas?
No.
Okay.
Teslas, there's certain vehicles that we do not work on. And Tesla, I don't know what's up with their panels, or I have no clue why, but I think it's just such a new vehicle, and they're put together in a funky kind of way.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never even driven a Tesla. I've driven a lot of vehicles, but I've never even.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because I thought, maybe each dealership would just, no matter what car you have, if, you wanted to take it there, so that.
Yeah, Tesla, no.
Probably have to
no.
take it
We've
back
worked
to
on
Tesla.
we work on Mercedes-Benz. We work on every vehicle, but I've never seen us work on a Tesla.
Wow. Okay.
I would like to. It'd be really cool.
Okay, so I have a question.
What's
Okay,
going on
so
with
you got
that?
your car fixed, and now the insurance is going to take care of what?
Okay, so once your vehicle's fixed, I tell all my customers, you would bring in either some insurance companies will cut you the initial check for the initial estimate. So you bring in that check, you either cash that and then pay for it yourself. But sometimes the insurance, if you're a direct repair facility with that insurance company, that money will go straight to the repair facility, and then all that the customer would be due to pay at the time of pickup would be their deductible. So let's talk about deductibles. There's two different kinds of deductibles on your insurance policy. There's a comprehensive, and there is collision. Comprehensive is for anything like God, what could happen, like lightning,
a deer,
or lightning struck my car, or something that's completely unforeseen. And then collision. There's different kinds of collision deductibles. The two major ones that we do see are standard form and broad form collision. And there's another one too. I can't remember what it is, but you always want to choose broad form collision. And basically, broad form, you're paying for that deductible if you're only at fault, right? If you have standard form, you're paying either way. Okay. I had a customer, I felt so bad for her. She was this little old lady, and she got hit by a deer, right? And she comes in and to pick up her I call her before she comes in to pick up her vehicle. Okay, Mrs. Smith, your vehicle's ready. I just want to let you know you have a $250 deductible. And she's like, well, I have broad form collision. I'm like, well, that's not a part of this. That is actually under your comprehensive deductible, and we don't have broad and standard form for comprehensive. That's just the deductible for it.
So they have two
Okay.
broad forms.
No, there's no broad form and standard form is just for the collision deductible.
Okay.
So there is no options.
There's no options
For-
for a comprehensive deductible.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Gotcha.
because she got hit by a deer, she thought, oh, I got hit in the collision. Well, a collision includes another vehicle, okay, not another deer,
Right.
or something that is
Would it be
God-
like a natural?
a natural?
Yeah.
a tree falls on your car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So she had to pay that $250 deductible, which is not a bad deductible to pay. I've seen them pretty high, but she didn't understand that, well, it was a collision. Well, yes, it was, but it was, something
An act of
that's
God.
Right.
an act of God.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people don't
It's
understand that.
confusing, isn't it?
That's a little confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're
Act
like,
of
okay,
God or a real collision, like
Right.
another car or a
Yeah.
tree or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, it can be confusing for people to
Yeah.
understand that. Another thing that you could possibly owe for on top of the deductible is a thing called betterment. So let's just say you get in a car accident and your tire has to be replaced, right? So when we do the intake of your vehicle, we have a gauge, a tire depth gauge that will tell us what the depth of your tire is. And if your tire depth is like at 80%, you would owe 20% for a brand new tire. So whatever 20% of that brand new tire is, you'd owe that on top of your deductible. The insurance company is not going to pay for a brand new
It
tire,
might be
which
$20 or something.
yeah, it'd be nice if they did pay for that. I mean, you'd think they should
Yeah.
after
Right.
paying so many years
Right,
of
yeah.
insurance.
Yeah.
So that's the only other item that you might have to
A
be
betterment.
It's
Is
called a
tires the
betterment.
only thing that is that
There's other items I can't think of off the top of my head, but there's
like a review mirror or something? No. Like, yeah.
no, yeah, it's
So
No.
if you called your insurance company, could they give you a list of what that covers under your policy?
oh yeah.
Okay.
It's a process, right? Am I right?
It's a
Yeah.
very long process.
Well, what I like to tell my customers is, when they first initially drop off, let's just say the vehicle's drivable and they drop it off, I tell them, they're like, okay, so when will I know how long it'll be for the repair? There's always two questions: how long and how much, and how much out of pocket. And I always tell them, I don't know. I'm giving you the straight up answer, and they'll look at me like, okay, what can you tell me? I'm like, well, what I can tell you is it could take 24 to 48 hours for us to do the teardown because we don't know what's behind your grill. We don't know if it went into your cooling system or if your radiator's shot. We don't know this. So our job is to not compromise anything. We just want to make sure we do everything exactly that needs to be done to get you back on that road safe and sound. So I do tell them it takes 24 to 48 hours for us to do the teardown. From there, we'll work up the estimate and then get everything approved through the insurance company. And then from there, then we order parts. So I mean, the initial part of it really sucks. I mean, people just want to know, I want my car right now. This happened, and they're in a very highly emotional state.
Yeah.
And that's why I love my job. I love it when some sweet old lady comes in and she's like, I hit a pole, and you feel so bad. You're like, you just want to hug her and be like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad you hit a pole. And then by the time the conversation's over with, afterward, I'll say, okay, Mrs. Smith, let's go take a look at your vehicle and see what happened. And she's in tears and just upset. And, and we walk around the vehicle and I say to her, shit happens. I see this all the time. Okay, so don't feel bad you hit the pole and that's what people want to hear. Mm-hmm. This is an accident. This did happen, unfortunately. And then, I get a little smile on the face and she's like, okay. And then she gets more comfortable. And then I explain the process to her. So, let's just say she hit a pole on her fender, right? And I give her estimate. And then she says, well, wait a minute, my fender, I hit my fender. How come the door is on here too? I don't understand that. You're screwing me. And that's people's initial response. And what people don't understand is that for us to get the vehicle back to, like new again, we're repairing that fender, but we have to blend the door with the paint to make sure everything looks like how it should look, and we have to detrim that door to get that clear coat on after we're done painting it. So once I just want to educate people and make sure that they understand that, we're not trying to screw people in this business, because that's what a lot of people are so-called used to in the past. But I love educating people like little Mrs. Smith, that was so upset when she came in the door, but when she leaves with that estimate in hand, she understands exactly what the insurance company may pay for, or if she decides to pay for it herself, what that entails. So just to educate people is just my number one thing. And that's why I love my job. I love educating people and just seeing that twinkle in their eye, like, I get it now. And then she, a lot of times, sweet old Mrs. Smith will say, I can go home to my husband and educate him on what, what is going to happen with my vehicle, so that's why I love it. There's down days, there's days where you have vehicles that come in that, we have to have a hazmat team come in and clean up blood. And those days suck. They really do. And, but then there's days where you have Mrs. Smith come in and you just make her day, and it makes it good.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the information.
Yes.
Yeah,
Really
hey.
good information. But the number one thing is get rental insurance on your car so that you can have rental.
Yes.
Yes.
There's no freebies anymore.
yes.
No.
Yes.
So do
There's
that.
Because if you didn't have renters on your insurance, roundabout, what would it cost if I didn't have my renters on? I mean, around
Yeah.
what would that cost me? Like,
Okay, so what it
40
would
to
cost
60
for
bucks
rental?
a day.
It depends on the vehicle. I mean, if you want, like a Ford Focus, I mean, it could cost $35 to $40 per day.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
If you want an expedition, it could be 60 to 80 bucks a day. It just depends on, who you're going through. My dealership where I work, we have a pretty good relationship with like Enterprise. If you do mention to the rental company that you are working with this dealership or whatever collision shop, they might have a really good relationship with them and might cut you a little bit of a discount. So it's always good to mention where you're bringing your vehicle to,
Right.
and they could probably help you out with that too.
Okay.
Good. Very good.
Yeah.
It's been educational.
Well,
Yeah.
I've already went through all this before.
Right.
So I'm good.
Yeah, it's
All
not
right.
fun. It's not
not.
fun at all.
All right. Well,
on
thanks
either end.
for
Yes.
thanks for stopping by
Thank you
and
so
giving us
much.
all this great information.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you
All
guys.
right.
It's been great.
All right. Thanks.
right.
Thanks everybody.
All right.
See you later.
Okay.